Sun's fading. We gotta go. I'll get my car. I brought mine. Yours. I gotta get me one of those.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Backdance Discussions. And happy 4th of July. Tomorrow's the 4th. I got my flag hat on, and I'm really excited. And also, it's my anniversary show. 1 year ago today, I appeared on Zywriter's channel for late night Q&A, which I consider the backdoor pilot for this channel. So, very special stream, very excited. We got a lot of people in the chat right now. We got what up, Guitar? We got Guitar. We got, sorry, streamer a little slow for me. We got Replicant and I have no idea how to pronounce that. Sorry. What up, Socks? You won't be stealing my socks today. Let's see, we got Chad. What up, Chad? Yes, sell it. And yes, Austin. No problem. It was a really great intro. And also, wearing one of your shirts. We got another member of the cool table. Is it pulling up on my end? I swear StreamYard is very glitchy for me. So, what up, El Necron? We got two. We got one half of the cool table. And we got another one I'll be bringing on momentarily. So real quick, this was going to be a separate episode of Backdance Slots, but StreamYard being StreamYard was making it kind of difficult for me. So I'm just going to give my thoughts on this topic real quick, and then we'll go on. Superman and Lois, a James Gunn special. So we know that James Gunn picked his new Superman and Lois, David Cornsweet, and Rachel Brosnahan. Putting aside my anger towards what happened with Cavill, they have the looks. Cornsweet looks a lot like Cavill. And I'm a little concerned about the height difference, as Cornsweet is 6'4", Brosnahan is 5'3". That's the long and short of my thoughts on the casting. Don't know them as actors, and I wish them all the best. But there is another Superman that we are focused on tonight. And I'm going to bring on the creator of the Cell movement, Hashtag sells his jail to Netflix. Hashtag sells Snyderverse to Netflix. When James Gunn announced this reboot, I was depressed. I was sad because my excitement for DC was gone. But it wasn't until this guy came up with a practical solution, not just aimlessly yelling at WBD, something that I was guilty of myself, but he came with an actual solution to get the Snyderverse. And I'm so thankful to have this guy on my show. And as I remind him all the time, hashtag Obi-Wan gave up, hashtag I stand with Anakin Skywalker, hashtag the Sith are the good guys. Please join me as I welcome Skiiwalker Tha Jedi.
Bad Dan, how you gonna bring me on right after you saying all that foolishness, man? Right? Foolishness. How you doing, Bad Dan? I'm happy to be here, bro. Thanks for having me on the platform. It's always a pleasure to be able to talk with you. And just thank you for having me on and for being willing to have this conversation.
Oh, anytime. I love the Cell topic. And what up, Super Bro Corey? Gotta give him a shout out too. I'm really excited
What up, Super Bro?
It's going to be a really great. There's so much great stuff to talk about. And again, I kind of give my long and shorts on the thoughts of this topic. I don't really have much to say other than I wish the actors best of luck, because one thing I love about your movement is that these two can still have a success. That two starting up actors who aren't well known can still have success. Our movement has nothing to do with that. So actually, I guess, do you have anything you want to say about this casting before we move on to the next topic?
I'll say this, I'm pretty sure that, they are in that getting these roles change both their lives, right? And I absolutely wish them both the best of luck in their roles moving forward in the DCU. But yeah, I'm just pretty much focused on hashtag sale. And, that's where my main concern lies.
Same here. Again, as I said, I wish them the best of luck. I hope they find success. But one thing we will kind of say real quick, though, I guess, before we completely move on, does this change anything? Now that Gunn has picked his new Superman and Lois, is Cell dead or is it stronger than ever? We both know the answer to that, but let's get it out there.
Right. No, I would definitely say that Cell is more stronger now than it has been in the prior months. Ever since I kind of put the hashtag out. There is absolutely no reason to slow down whatsoever. And I think that if you look at the landscape of things, actually, this casting announcements, I think that they've given a certain finality to the whole, Cavill thing, right? Because we didn't have that. Oh, they actually cast someone as Superman, but now that that's happened, I think that hopefully everybody can kind of see this as a rallying point. Whereas WBD has officially moved on, right? And they're going to be continuing to cast their own superheroes in these roles. I mean, their own actors for these superheroes. And so, yeah, hopefully we can all just kind of be galvanized and get behind Sale, because I think that it's the last real choice that we have.
I agree 100%, especially now that they've picked their actors. This is it. The reboot is happening, for better or for worse. And by the way, Mikey Sutton, if I did this right, I think I have your Geekosity article pinned to the chat. So check that out. It was a great, I'll just pull it up real quick.
Yeah, which I might be covering that article tomorrow too. So, y'all stay tuned for that.
But really, and we'll definitely get into the depths of this article later, is that it is the only movement. And one thing I love about this movement is that we don't have to wish Corn, Sweat, and Bronze on a hand to lose their jobs. They can still have their jobs and be a success. Our focus is getting the movement onto just getting the conclusion to the story that we love. Maybe some spin-offs can develop from that, and we'll get into that too. But the main focus is just to finish the story and DC needs this because DC is a damaged brand. And actually, Mikey Sutton transitioned us to this next topic very well. The Flash box office. What overall, Sky, just briefly, what did you think about The Flash?
Oh man, really enjoyed it. I don't think that was a secret, right? I saw it early at the first fan screening date that they had back in May. Yeah, enjoyed it then. Got to see it 2 more times opening weekend, and I'm still going to go back and see it 1 more time too. I enjoyed the film. I think that the box office was unfortunate. I don't believe that movie was anywhere near that bad that warranted that type of like low turnout. But with that being said, I think that, when you look at the DC brand overall, it's really seen better days. And I think that the box office to that film, which should have been like a summer blockbuster, right? That really shows the damage that has been done to the brand.
100%. The Flash, I mean, I know Super Bowl Corey, I know you're in the chat. I know you disagree with us, but much love, Corey. Anyway, The Flash was a really good movie. It was a really great movie, and I cannot believe the way the box office turned out. And I know a lot of people want to blame it all on Ezra. I'm not going to act like those allegations had nothing to do with it. But at the same time, The Flash is not the only movie that's failed in the box office recently. Shazam 2 did not do well in the box office. The Suicide Squad did not do well in the box office. Black Adam did not do well in the box office. You can't pin it all on The Flash, especially after James Gunn announced the reboot. Can't pin it all on Ezra because James Gunn, especially after James Gunn announced the reboot. The DC is a damaged brand, and one thing I love about the Cell movement is that it campaigns for it to be on streaming, which allows people are a lot less cautious with streaming because it's on a streaming service you already pay for. So you watch it, and then you're more incentivized to see how good, hey, this is some good DC product. And that's the biggest thing that I think the Cell movement can do for DC right now is not just help Warner Brothers Discovery out of their debt, but make money. Just succeed in increasing the brand, strengthening the brand.
Yo, I mean, look at where the brand was. Just look at right after Zack Snyder's Justice League came out. The audiences were loving that movie. General audiences that checked it out loved it for the most part. It was breaking records all over the world, right? And then also when Henry Cavill announced that he was back as Superman, right? Those are 2 points that you can point to recently that are directly correlated with the Snyderverse and the DC brand overall, where things were looking great. And, both of those moments of momentum were fumbled, right? And, here we are now. So I think that this is definitely the most surefire way to get some goodwill back with the fans.
100%. And I mean, this is the way. This is the only way, and there's lots of stuff, and we'll get into, we'll definitely get into your scoop very soon. But one thing I do want to get into real quick is with the Flash movie, there's been a bit of a divide. A lot of people are trying to say the Cell movement is toxic, and to be honest, I find a really hard time listening to the people who were showing edited clips of the Flash movie, campaigning for it to fail, especially from accounts that have claimed support Ezra Miller through all the allegations, some of those accounts working for the Flash movie to fail. They are trying to say that the Cell movement is toxic.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, Dan, right? Like, at this point, I'm really starting to see the how these actions, they kind of come and go in cycles, right? So you end up seeing the same things just kind of repeated over and over again. And, saying that the cell movement is toxic, right? It's not surprising. But at the same time, they have to try to downplay what we're doing somehow. Like they have to, right? There are, I mean, literally, right? You've had so many claims, right, that we've been toxic over the rules of engagement, and I've literally been told that, yeah, I've like went off on people for mixing the hashtags, and I've asked somebody to produce one tweet, right? Because right, and it just hasn't happened, right? Because literally, I've never done that. Leon has never done that, right? I see tweets every day that break the rules of engagement, and I have yet to go in anybody's mentions or whatever, right? Or reply to them, hey, why aren't you using the hashtags right? Like it's never happened. So to try to say that we are being toxic or that we're bringing toxicity when literally all we've been doing is continuing on with Netflix and engaging with them, doing things like galvanizing people, raising money for suicide prevention, just all these multitudes of different things that could be described as the furthest from toxic. So I'm not really surprised. They have to say something, right? And toxic just kind of seems like the easy crutch to fall back on.
Yeah, I agree 100% because it's just a word that is so popular among Twitter now, and it just the thing is like your movement is what got rid of the toxicity because before your movement, you're hashtagging for people to lose their jobs, deserved or not, whether you not we feel deserved. The campaign was for people like James Gunn and Peter Safran to lose their job, their livelihood, whereas your movement does not do that. It doesn't involve anyone losing their job. It just involves us getting the conclusion to the story that we love as an Elseworlds thing. That's it.
Yo, which is also funny, Bad Dan, because when Forbes first started giving us coverage, that was one of the things that the writer actually highlighted, right? Was how he had been kind of like straying away from the Snyder fandom because of like, actions in the past from some within the movement and how they could be described as toxic, right? But they actually gave like examples of like, hey, I went and said this and then people attacked me, right? Like, which happens all of the time. The good Austin, a good friend of mine, cool table member, put out a tweet the other day, pretty much just saying, I mean, he put out a poster saying he wanted Man of Steel 2. And if you go look at the mentions, they were just all in there calling him stupid and crazy and all that. And all that stuff seems to just be fine, right? When it is aimed at us, it's fine. When all we've been doing is campaigning, trying to get these movies, this has literally been like one of the hardest undertakings I think I've ever been a part of in my life. And I'm a combat veteran, so that's saying something, right? Like, no, like I'm so serious because like if this was just about getting movies, Bad Dan, I think that we would have already won. But it's not just about getting movies. Like you have people that are invested in like the Snyder fandom looking bad. You have people that are invested in like WB failing financially. There's just a lot of stuff kind of going on at one time that we're trying to navigate. And, it's been crazy, but we think that we've been doing a great job and we're going to continue down this path that we've been going.
Exactly. And that's all you can do. And to anyone who's watching who doesn't support the movement, here's the thing. It's honestly fine. As crazy as it sounds, it's fine to not support the movement. Just don't talk about it. Focus on your thing right here, and we'll do our thing right here. Stay in your lane. It's really not that hard. But yet, although I have to be honest, I'm a little disappointed I don't have a troll in my chat yet. But other than that,
And it's all good. Hey, pretty soon, right? Yeah. And what's funny is that, that is one thing that's been kind of coming up lately, right? Recently. And it's funny how this started coming up right after all this news started dropping about WBD confirming being in negotiations with Netflix, right? All of a sudden there seemed to be this push, you know, to like really discuss like why certain people don't want to rock out with our movement. And it's like, yo, I don't care. Like, I really don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all about moving forward. And yeah, I'm going to be doing some things pretty soon to kind of make sure that these conversations are always focusing on moving forward. But my best advice then would just be to cultivate your timeline, because like it's been getting wacky, bro.
Yeah, I've put a lot of people on mute. I've even blocked people, even if I don't interact with them, just so they don't interact with me, because here's the thing. Real life is hard enough as it is. I'm trying to get girls on a dating app. I'm trying to work a job. I'm trying to manage all my time. I have real life concerns to worry about. This does not need to be the thing that causes me stress.
Facts, right? Like, and it shouldn't. It should just be, hey, we should just be campaigning, right? We all should be talking about our love for Zack Snyder's movies and all that stuff, and it should just be fine. But since that's not the case, Bad Dan, I think that it shows, that hey, some of these people are here for some reasons other than the rest of us.
Exactly. And hold on, I actually just got another last minute subtopic that I kind of want to add, because this firstly transitions to, because I noticed when a lot of this started, like the real divide in the fandom started is when this happened.
I already know. Yep. I already know.
Zack Snyder's seal of approval. You got Zack Snyder himself on your poster at Full Circle, the guy that you were never going to meet in your life, the events you were never going to go to.
I was never going to go, bro. How'd that even happen, Dan? Right? Like, was I even there, bro? Did I go to Full Circle? I don't even know anymore, right? I don't know if I was allowed to go. Right?
I mean, it looked like you were there. I saw video evidence that you were there. And it sounds that you they got actually multiple forms of approval from Zack Snyder himself. You had the poster, you had that pre-Man of Steel party thingy, and then at the Zack Snyder Justice League Q&A. 3 separate occasions where Zack Snyder has approved this campaign.
Hey, and 2 more times in conversations that we didn't have videos for, actually, as well, right? Because it was the first time that I met him before I asked him the question on camera. That's what I'm saying. I interacted with Zach 5 times. Like it was crazy. It was like for real crazy, right? But yeah, it was super dope. And you're right though. That is when things change, Bad Dan. It kind of took me off guard because I thought that all of the information that Leon, Sil, and myself came out of Full Circle with, I thought that it was going to galvanize the entire fandom, right? Like we were all hyped and pumped, right? Especially, man, y'all should have seen how crazy Sil got when he saw what my poster said, right? Sil like lost it. He was like, yo, like Zach signed that. I was like, yeah. He was like, Zach signed that. I was like, yeah, bro. He was like, nah. And he was like flipped out. But it was a lot of fun, and we did it all with the intentions of like finding out this information for the fan base, right? So yeah, we felt coming out of Full Circle that everybody was going to be really hyped up and raring to go. But that didn't seem to be the case for everybody, unfortunately.
And it's sad. It's really sad that happened, because this was the moment to unite the fandom. Because like speaking positively about this was a really positive movement, because the thing is, Zack Snyder didn't want to do it. The whole movement would have gone kaput because we would have respected Zack's wishes and we would have moved on. But Zack gave us the seal of approval to keep going. And very similarly, I remember El Necron said that Zack's people did not want the Netflix name on the shirt itself.
Mm-hmm.
And he signed
That's a true story.
Following that same logic. He didn't say Netflix. He just said Snyderverse sell it. So it seems, again, reason being, Zack knows what's going on behind the scenes.
Right? Yo, 100%. Zack knew about our campaign when we first tried to get those shirts uploaded, right? So he had the chance to really stamp on it then. He had the chance to really stamp on it in any of his viral posts, but he kept liking our hashtags, right? He had the chance to stamp on it when I first talked to him. When you guys see the pictures of us kind of sitting there talking, right? When we took that selfie, because I introduced myself then, Dan. I was like, hey, I'm Skiiwalker Tha Jedi. I'm the one that came up with the hashtag, blah, 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 blah. I went to Stone. Like, I told him exactly who I was, like, right then and there. So he was quite aware for the rest of the weekend who I was back then. So I don't think that any of these things happened on accident, right? He knew who I was when he was signing my poster, right? Like, there's no way that he didn't know. Plus, I even said it in the video, right? Yeah, it would like no, like, if you are a true Zack Snyder fan, I do not see how you could witness what happened Full Circle Weekend and then turn around and say, oh, nah, well, this is the time to give up. Or this is the time to alter the path that we've been taking, right? Or now we should start doing things differently. Like, oh no. That was a moment for us to even go harder, which you've seen we've been doing since Full Circle, right? I've been almost streaming every day. That will be every day pretty soon, right? Like, oh no, we are 100% dedicated to really seeing this thing through, and I feel great about our chances.
And I do too. And Mama Bear Art Dog brings up a really good point. Zack, he works for Netflix, but he does not speak for Netflix. And especially if right now he does work for Netflix, and we know that not officially announced, but we know that his contract's going to get renewed or has been renewed. And it's not a good look for him to directly say, sell this Netflix. Netflix has to be the one to make that decision. All Zack Snyder can do is create demand for the Snyderverse IP or product or whatever semantics are going to make you happy.
Yeah, for anybody questioning why Zack didn't put it, if anything, right? Because first you have people saying, "Oh, well, he just signed it because I asked him to," right? But the fact that he didn't sign what I asked him to, I think, is actually more telling, right, than if he did just sign what I asked him to, right? Yeah. Because and I really think that he knew that he couldn't sign it that way because he knew what signing that poster that way was going to do. Like, he knew because he knew who I was back then, right? That is a key fact that people cannot let go understated, right? Like, Zack knew who I was when he was signing that poster. So anybody saying, oh my God, Zack was just doing it for a fan and blah, blah, blah. No, he knew who I was.
Yeah. I mean, he's literally liked posts about you, about the cell movement on Vero. There's no, unless he's living under a rock, he knows who you are. He 100% knew that.
And he saw my picture at Stone Quarry, which I confirmed that he saw at Full Circle. So, yeah, he knew.
But, I mean, to be fair, Sky, you did kind of corner Zack Snyder.
Right? Yo, and what's really funny is, right, was that when they said that we cornered him, that was the second time that I had talked to him, right? And the first time, he actually like walked over to my area. That's why it's so like it's really so hilarious, yo. Like the whole thing is so funny. Everybody trying to say that we cornered him or that I stole questions or that I did this or I did that. It's like, yo, it's fine, yo. You guys are really just showing, what your agendas are because it's wild.
It's wild and it's wacky. It's very wacky.
Wacky.
And
Yo, yo, you would have thought that I'd have got arrested at Full Circle, yo. They said I cornered Zack Snyder. I stole questions, right? What else did we do? Because it was something else too, right? Like it's just all these allegations, man. And it's just like, yo, why can't I have just bought my ticket just like everybody else and just used it effectively?
yeah, exactly. You bought it with your hard-earned money, and you live in the area, so you were able. So compared to other people, getting to LA to you was pretty easy, since for you it's like a drive, whereas for me it'd be
because I live in LA County, right? So yeah, yeah.
And this was a great moment. This was a really big moment that regardless of some of the division that's happened, this solidified the possibility of this. Zack Snyder is willing and wants to do it, and I think this showed that there's a lot of great potential. Regardless of what people think, this is a good movement, and it's going to be a success. I really believe this will be a success. Mikey just said something that I want to pull up. Oh, yeah, you sold beer. That's right. What you did.
Nah, I did have a drink with Zach though, which people can't say. You know what I'm saying? Hey, y'all seen them pictures, right? It was, it's what I really love about all this is just the way that we were told that this was never going to happen. That's what truly makes this whole thing funny, right? Is just because we were told explicitly over and over and over again that this was never going to happen.
And I've had a lot more less likely stuff in my life happen than this happening. So, I mean, if you told me 3 years ago that a pandemic was going to shut down the world, I thought that was less likely to happen than a DC project being revived on Netflix, something that has previously happened with Lucifer.
Right.
I'm a fan of that show. I love that show.
Makes sense to me.
Again, the point is, at the end of the day, don't want to let the betas too much or any of these detractors worry us too much. At the end of the... Oh my God, Mikey is just killing it in the chat. Okay, so I gotta pull this one up first. Is that...
This guy got Zach drunk.
Yep.
Hey, Zach was lit by the time he even got out. Yo, look, man, Zach was lit when he first pulled up. He said Zach was drunk when he signed it. Oh my God, signing under the influence, right? Yo, you know, Mikey, that's next, bro. That's next, man, is that, I got Zach drunk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I spiked this drink. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be something, bro.
Yeah, it's always going to be something. And yeah, unfortunately, it's that certain big YouTuber that Kenneth was pointing out. That's also what did it too, is a lot of people followed our movie news, unfortunately. And okay, I wasn't going to say his name directly, but I kind of just did. So I'm just going to pull up the comment now at this point. Is that, I mean, for better or for worse, that's just what happened. Is that our movie news had his opinion. He had his thoughts on it. And a lot of people who followed him, they just went with him. That's just the reality of things work sometimes. But
hey, it's fine. It's fine. Because you want to know why? Look, for one, not everybody's going to always agree with what you do, right? So that is one thing. But when that happened with that platform, kind of misrepresenting what happened, it really showed me something because, things got really, because the poster thing really caused like a lot of people to start acting weird very quickly. Like very quickly, right? Like the next day. I put out the poster thing on what, like it was like a Tuesday night, I think, right? And then Wednesday came and everybody was already acting wacky, right? So, when this was happening, one of the first kind of dominoes that fell was the video that said that I was lying and kind of misrepresenting what happened when I literally put out the entire video of me walking up to Zach, asking him to sign the head. Like I literally put it out, and then it was said that I misrepresented what happened. That's one of the first things that kind of led to all of this wackiness. But when that happened, I think that it really showed that, hey, one, I would rather this stuff happen before our campaign came to fruition, right? Because one, I think that the people that really, really have been rocking out with us, they should be the ones that are really the people that get to enjoy the fruit of all the labor that we've been putting into this thing, right? because because if anybody was here for other reasons, I think that they've all kind of been weeded out now, right? I think that a lot of the people that were here for ulterior motives, they've kind of been weeded out, and I would rather have the people that are here truly rocking with us and what we're doing and trying to be as effective as possible while securing the conclusion for Zack's story.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this isn't really a surprise though, because this has happened always within the Snyder family. You have people with the release of Snyder Cut, they try to take over that movement, restore the Snyderverse. I mean, the reality is this is nothing new. And I think. I think some of the people, I think they are legitimately in it for Zack Snyder, but they're just following the wrong accounts. They're following the wrong accounts who are wanting clout because, as Mikey brought up a good point, not that I like to pull this card all the time, but this is certainly an instance where, yes, I do.
Yo, look, and what's funny about that, about what you were just saying is that, with everything that's happened, like, kind of like post the full circle, right? One, I would have never, if you would have put me in a time machine and for taking me back like 7-8 months ago, even just that, recently, there's no way that I'd have thought that that this campaign would be happening and that, we'd be making this many waves and seemingly like getting closer and closer to this thing actually being brought to fruition, right? But also that we would have gotten the Zack stamp of approval, right? Like I never would have imagined that, like I never would have imagined that we could actually do something or create something that could just take over the fan base like this, and then also get Zack to approve of it, right? Like that was really special, and it really doesn't matter what happens, Bad Dan. Like they won't take that fact away from any of us that were there, and I would suggest that you guys that have just been rocking out with us, you guys really hold on to that as well too, because that is our true north, right? It's Zack and what like what our main goal is to secure the future for Zack's story. So with that being our true north, it just makes it easier to kind of say no and not and not give in to certain things that you know may not be best for the fan base in the long run.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. At the end of the day, we just want our movies. I just want the conclusion to the story that I love. And then and yes, there are some spin-offs like the Batfleck movie, Man of Steel 2, and the Air Cut, because that one's already filmed, which actually that's going to be coming up in our next topic, is just getting just a proper conclusion to the Snyderverse so then we can say goodbye. So that I can see Cavill finish his time as Superman, and then I can watch Corn Sweat and Brosnahan and not think about, oh, Cavill should be Superman. I can think about, no, Cavill's done. He's had his turn, or he's finishing his turn on Netflix. And I can really just focus, okay, what do I think about this movie? Nothing. It's kind of like what you said in that one article with comicbook.com. It's about being judged by its own merits. And that's all we want at the end of the day. That's all we want at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, because these Zack Snyder fan base, wrongly or rightly, seems to get blamed for like the outcome of all these DC movies, right? It just happened again. They tried to blame they tried to blame it. They tried to blame us for the Flash, right? For Birds of like just every single movie that has come out that failed to live up to expectations. I truly think that this will be the only way that these films can be judged on their own merits, right? Because I don't think that the Zack Snyder fan base should be the first to blame in these situations, even though that seems to be par for the course, right? But if we're able to get this conclusion to our story, I truly think that that will be the only way that DC as a whole can move forward while being judged on its own merits without that shadow of like Zack Snyder kind of looming over everybody and all of these projects, because it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away, right? Like you might as well just give us what we want, right? And we'll pay for it.
Yeah.
Just like we've always been doing.
Exactly. At the end of the day, you have to make a product that people are interested in, and you have to build time for your brand, because both Flash and Black Adam were both good movies that deserved a better box office. But unfortunately, the DC brand was tainted, and they need to build up to that at the end of the day. And, Scott, there's a scoop that you had recently that's going to really kind of help build up to the brand. So you've heard from a little birdie that Netflix not only wants Zack Snyder's trilogy, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and Zack Snyder's Justice League, but also the Ayer cut. There are so many layers to that scoop alone.
Yeah, right. It was kind of crazy. I ain't gonna front, right? I didn't expect it, right? Earlier in that day, Mikey and I had already decided that we weren't going to do night shift, right? So it's just funny how these things like work out, right? And so we're already worked out that we weren't going to do night shift. Pardon me. And later in the day, I am messaged from somebody that has been watching my channel, for quite some time, an insider who proved to me who they were and their track record. And I was like, oh, seems legit. You know what I'm saying? Like this seems pretty legit. And I was told that not only were WBD and Netflix in negotiations just as a whole for stuff like Ballers, and as we just found out today, Insecure, right? All of that kind of stuff, but that also they were asking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, Man of Steel, and BVS Ultimate edition for a non-exclusive deal, and also was interested in the Ayer cut, even though they hadn't gotten an update back on the Ayer cut situation. But I was told, like this is like an unconfirmed scoop, but like that they were asking for the Ayer cut too, which only makes sense, right? And if you really look at it, WBD seems to be trying to push people along to the Schumacher cut, right?
Yep.
And so why not give up the air cut too to Netflix? It only makes sense, right? And I was thinking about this, and I'm like, yo, Netflix can actually have like a Snyder multiverse on their platform. They can actually have Snyder's DC movies, his Rebel Moon movies and other projects, right? Along with his army projects and movies. So it's like, it's crazy. This seems like this, I mean, just think about this. You think that they over there talking with WBD about Insecure and Ballers and all this stuff, and they ain't talked about DC, right? Come on now.
But I mean, we'll get into the air cut too. But just think about Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Realistically speaking, we couldn't get Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3 without those 3 movies on Netflix. Because when Netflix saved Lucifer, when they got the rights to do Lucifer seasons 4 through, they ended up doing 4 through 6, they worked to get seasons 1 through 3 on their platform because they know that you can't start in the middle of the series and expect to have viewers. To obtain new viewers, you need the other parts of the series on your platform.
You need the other projects, right?
Yeah. And those are the 3 projects.
Along with the air cut, right? Like literally, like, yo, yeah, like that would be what they would need, right? If they were trying to introduce Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 or what have you to their audience, right? Because look, you have to understand, Zack Snyder's Justice League was a Max or original. There are more countries that don't have Max than countries that do. All right. So, there's a great chance that a good part of the world never saw this movie and wouldn't have access to it, right? But Netflix, being the streaming king that they are, right? They're all over the world, and this thing could really be a massive, massive hit. And so, if you're going to try to invest in this thing, it would behoove you to have the entire storyline, or at least as much of the storyline as possible on your platform, so that the people are well informed and can actually get engaged with the story and follow it along from beginning to completion.
Exactly. And hold on a second. I got to pull a Mikey Sutton and get some water real quick. Keep on talking.
Right. Hey, all good, right? Yeah. The facts that have been coming out, especially like since I put that scoop out, have been very interesting as well, right? Because now, I mean, I'm not sure if it's a topic that we're going to get into tonight, but yeah, with Insecure being confirmed over on Netflix, right? Like, when you guys saw that, like, that doesn't scream to you, hey, maybe this thing is possible, right? Like, maybe this could actually take place, right? Yeah, it just the pushback that we've gotten has never really made much sense to me. It will continue to not make sense, but we are very much galvanized and are going to be continuing to be full steam ahead, right? This news earlier did nothing but galvanize us even more. And for anybody that follows me on Twitter, I'm sure that y'all saw my video earlier where I was over there, grooving and, because it's a great time, right? Like, it really is. I feel it in the air, and I really think that, these are the beginnings of like something special. And now we just need that official drop that the Snyder cut is on there. Oh my God, man. Look, can you imagine them dropping the Snyder cut being on Netflix back then? Like, I'm going to lose my mind, bro.
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely, because Well, because here's what the thing it does. It really solidifies your original hashtag a lot more. It sells ZSJL to Netflix because that's literally what will be happening is Zack Snyder's Justice League will be sold to Netflix or licensed to Netflix or leased to Netflix, whatever semantics make you happy. But the point is Netflix will have it and it will be the start of what needs to happen because new audiences will be introduced to the Snyder Cut. New audiences will be introduced to Man of Steel. And I bet you there's a lot of people who have only seen the theatrical cut of Batman v Superman who have not seen the Ultimate Edition.
Facts.
I'm telling you, there are plenty of people. And then when they see that Ultimate Edition, like Mikey Sutton, like Jeremy Johns, they will be converted into the Snyder cult. I say very sarcastically.
Right.
There.
Yeah. No, one of the people that I went to go see the movie with still hasn't seen it. Still hasn't seen the Ultimate version. Because she thought that the theatrical was like, all right. She was like, I hope it was everything that you wanted it to be. And then like later, when I asked her had she watched it, she was like, why would I go back and watch that movie? And I was trying to tell her, I'm like, yo, go watch it. She's like, nah. And I'm pretty sure that to this day she's never watched it. So no, there are lots of people that only saw the theatrical version and don't even know what they're missing out on, right? That masterpiece that is the Ultimate Edition.
If you want to convince your friend, what you need to do is find YouTuber Jeremy Johns. First, show her his original review of Batman v Superman. Then show her his review of the Ultimate Edition. That right there proves the difference that makes, and they're not long videos, so that's a great small way for her to kind of see, wow, this actually makes a difference. And the Ayer cut too is the other big thing. Because here's the thing, unlike Man of Steel, unlike BVS, unlike Zack Snyder's Justice League, this one has not been seen yet by anyone other than by anyone in the public, we'll say. So this would be a really good...
Outside of like Will Rollins, right, who I interviewed on OG Talks. Yeah.
Exactly, outside of him.
Yeah, he's like the only public person that I've heard say that they've seen it. Yeah.
Basically, the point is like they won't see it in a public type of setting. Netflix will be able to really get great engagement out of that because that'll be a new project for their platform. Which, honestly, David Zaslav should have done this week 1. He took over.
Right? Yeah. Oh yeah. It was definitely an easy win. I think Zaslav might have had even loftier goals for that film. Maybe even like a short theatrical run, right? But when they brought in certain co-heads, those ideas were probably scrapped.
So, personally, me, I doubt it at not this Comic-Con.
Look, I'm not putting any kind of timetable on anything. I just think that, if anything, we just need to be prepared to, keep this thing going, and we are, right? If think about it like this, right? Them announcing anything like Zack Snyder or ZSJL 2 or anything like that right now would kind of almost be doing the same thing that James Gunn just did to the slate, right? It would be announcing that he has something coming afterwards, like that would kind of take the eyes off of what his next project is, right? So I am fully looking forward to seeing Rebel Moon. And I think that, in terms of official announcements, I'm not expecting anything until like potentially after Rebel Moon is already out. Just me personally.
I could see it most happening. I could see the Zack Snyder's trilogy and Ayer cut announcement happening on Netflix. I could see that.
Maybe something like that. Yeah. But any like ZSJL 2 or anything like that. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Well, especially because like Man of Steel, BVS, and Zack Snyder's Justice League could be used to hype up Rebel Moon on their platform. It's like see other projects from. So personally, if Netflix is smart, I think they should try to get that out before Rebel Moon as a way because I think you can do a lot of great cross promotion.
Facts. Hey, true that, bad Dan. Right, makes sense to me. Look, I'm just, I can't come on here and be telling people, hey, it's about to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just because if I say that, bro, it's gonna be all over Twitter and all over YouTube. Within the next 20 minutes, it's gonna be, hey, Skywalker said that it's getting announced at Comic-Con, confirmed. No.
Yeah, and I was just saying they should, by the way, for anyone watching this. I'm not saying I'm a theorizer.
No, look, the Man of Steel, BVS, UE, and ZSJL announcements, those could theoretically come before, the announcement that, they're like gonna do a new project, right? Because those are already complete, and it wouldn't need anywhere near the same level of like hype or marketing or anything that a new project would.
Exactly. And I mean, to be honest, you probably would get those announcements, those projects first anyways, because they want to build the hype up, they want to test it out. And again, probably speaking, it might not even be like breaking news to the general public. It'll just be like, oh, hey, we got new stuff on Netflix now, since there are already projects people have seen, unless it's a new cut of ZSJL. Would be the big groundbreaking announcement.
Right? Hey, I don't think that they would have the same version. Just me personally.
Exactly.
I don't think they would. Yeah, I don't think they would pay all that money and get the same version. They're probably going to want their own version exclusively.
And it would be a really great way to kind of establish which version is canon going forward too, because if it continues on Netflix and Netflix has their own version, it's pretty obvious which version is canon.
Right. Oh man, Bad Dan, don't start getting into canon versus non-canon, bro. People from the Flash their head's going to explode, bro. They're going to be sitting there, oh my God, is it canon or not?
I mean, it's pretty obvious which, I know the Justice League movies are a little messy, which one's canon to which movie, but the Flash, it's pretty obvious which one's canon. Aquaman, it's Aquaman ain't canon to ZSJL, but the Flash movie 100% is, whether people like it or not. Because except Joss Whedon, I know, invented the blue costumes for superheroes, and I guess he also invented the lasso of truth as well.
He did.
You
know what? He also invented jokes, and he cast Ben Affleck as Batman. He cast Henry Cavill as Superman. You know what I'm saying? He made all of the choices. He even directed Man of Steel, bro. I don't know if you knew that, but Joss Whedon directed Man of Steel and put Henry Cavill in that blue and red suit, bro.
Do you know something that Joss Whedon did actually do, though? He wrote Toy Story. He is a writer for Toy Story. So if you have all your Joss Whedon hating energy, boycott Toy Story. I'm just going to say.
And now I can't watch Toy Story back then. Come on, man.
According to these people, no, Joss Whedon was the writer for that movie. So anything that has his involvement, boycott Toy Story.
That's going to be a new hashtag.
But overall, the scoop, though, I'm really, congratulations on getting the scoop, first of all. You're really getting up there with Syl and Mikey and just getting this.
Don't start, bro. Don't do that, because I'm not Syl or Mikey, bro. Like, those two dudes, man. Look, I was just having this conversation the other day with somebody, right? And they was trying to say, wait, no, it was yesterday. And they were trying to say that that with what we were doing with Sale, we were kind of like with what I was saying, we were kind of putting down the store. And I was literally thinking about it, like Sale and Mikey, were so instrumental in keeping the hope alive, throughout the longevity of the Restore movement. Right? Like literally, when release was successful, I'm gonna give you guys a little behind the scenes information right now. Uh, the day that everybody hit 1 million tweets, apparently a bunch of the people that was like super intricate in like or that were very integral to release being successful, they were like mass blocked that next day. Right after they hit 1 million tweets, they like blocked all the OGs or whatever, right? And so, um, with that being said, right when Restore started, it was already like a separate group from the people that were really behind release, right? So right off the bat, this was like a separate group of people, and I in my heart of hearts really do truly feel that if it was not for Seal and Mikey and what they did throughout the entirety of the Restore movement, I feel like people would have gave up hope a very, very long time ago. And this sale thing probably would have never gotten off. I mean, oh no, it definitely wouldn't have. Right. So everything that we are doing now with this new cell movement is because of the seeds that Mikey and Seal were planting in like being truthful and honest with the fan base and continuing to push the conversation forward. Because if it was not for them, I mean, we're seeing now where some of these accounts would have led us, right? If it wasn't for certain people, and I think that that's right off the side of a cliff. So, yes, thank you for Seal and Mikey, especially for what they have done and continue to do. And so, yeah, I'm not up there yet, bro. That's like a whole other stratosphere, bro. For real.
But still, at least you're still rising up. That's the main point I was getting at. And Still and Mikey have definitely they definitely helped keep the movement alive. And you brought this up, and I saw this I was watching your last night's stream on replay after work, and here's my thing about this whole like, oh, are you disrespecting Restore? Restore was needed to get to where we are. It was needed to keep the movement for the Snyderverse alive. Unfortunately, it did not work. But I'm always going to be thankful for Restore the Snyderverse because it kept the engagement for ZSJL alive. It kept the engagement for the Snyderverse alive. And this movement would not have happened without Restore the Snyderverse. It's not about disrespecting the movement. It's about moving on from the past. It's about embracing the future. It's about trying a different way. Restore isn't going to work anymore. The chance that died when Henry Cavill said he wasn't coming back, because why would Henry Cavill want to come back to Warner Brothers as Superman at this point? I mean, seriously, why would he? That was like the worst humiliation I've seen them do to an actor ever.
Right? Yeah. That was for like a role of this magnitude, right? And something like that. Yeah, that's crazy to have him announce, "Hey, go tell everybody that you're back," and then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh no, go tell them that you're not back."
No, Trey. And Trey is pulling a me right now because
Right.
I do this all the time on his channel.
See?
I think he's spelling "somebody save me." Did you ever watch Smallville?
No, we have went over this.
Oh, right, yeah. I'm sorry. I get everyone mixed up sometimes. You're right. We did go over this because I remember Corey was
tripping out. He was like, "Well, you never watch Smallville?" Nah, I'm gonna watch it.
I'll say those actors have really kind of gotten on my nerves recently. John Glover and Michael Rosenbaum in particular. It's just not a good look as an actor to be throwing shade at other work, regardless of whether it's Zack Snyder's work or not. It's not a good look.
But that's the thing, though. I don't think that these things are happening on accident right now, Dan. I really don't. I think that there is a bunch of people that want the Zack Snyder fan base to move on, and there are a lot of like, and plus too, right? Think about it like this, right? Um, rightly or wrongly, a lot of these actors or people just in Hollywood do not feel the best about the Zack Snyder fan base because of um the the image that we've kind of put out there, right? So with this Snyderverse seemingly dead over at WBD, I feel like a lot of these actors that might not have like enjoyed necessarily everybody talking about these other interpretations. I feel like now is the time that everybody's going to kind of start um, making their feelings known, right? And it's cool because there is a new Superman, so it's cool now, right? It's cool to come out and say, hey, I didn't like that because I can say, oh, well, I'm going to look forward to this version, right? And I think that that's mostly what that is.
Yeah, I guess. And I also think too they're trying to cozy up to the new DC Studios head, trying to get work because John Glover was in Shazam, Michael Rosenbaum was in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, so both are kind of chummy with the new DC studio heads and are
Hey,
hoping to
I
get
was
work.
trying to be nice, man. I was trying to be nice.
Oh, I'm less filtered than that. I am
I'm
no,
joking.
they
Go ahead.
they're just sucking up to the new boss. They're basically lesser, more toned down version of Levi.
Hey, I'm not gonna argue with you, bro. I'm not gonna argue with you on that.
But we actually got some very good coverage this week for the Cell movement. Game Rant did a really great article about everything, mentioning, even covering your scoop, even covering your, like, another huge win for the movement, because tweets are nice, but it's these big articles that are really going to help carry this movement and more positive coverage of the movement.
Yeah, I think that when you really look at, a lot of the things that this movement has done has been a little bit different than the prior movements. I think that that is what has led to us getting this more positive coverage. Um, us doing things like following the rules of engagement, right? Especially, you know, and it's funny when we talk about the ROEs, right? Because you had spoke about earlier that it seems like this hashtag, the sales ZSL, could actually come true or could actually like make sense now, right? And it's funny because um in my opinion, it always made sense, right? Like it always made sense. But what we saw was that there was a consistent kind of push to only use one of the hashtags so that we could use that one mixed with other ones, which was about mixing the messaging, right? And I really think the fact that we didn't do that initially, or like that none of the prominent people do that at all, I feel like that is what truly helps us keep this conversation focused, and it makes it to where we can isolate ourselves and isolate our conversation much easier, right? Using both hashtags, and in that way, when they look at these hashtags and they look at the approval rating and things like that, um, it's just a lot easier to control that when you are focusing your messaging. And so I really do think that things like the Game Rant article that dropped the other day, I really do think that those things only happen because we have things like rules of engagement.
Yeah, I agree, because because reality is you cannot control what people do. Is that people
Not
are
at
going to
all.
do what they're going to do, but all you can do is have rules so that you can at least try to create some order. So people break off these rules. As harsh as Leon's whole excommunicado thing is, the reason for that is because when you're part of a movement, you represent the movement. When I was big with Restore the Snyderverse, I got irritated when I saw people doing stuff in the name of Restore the Snyderverse, even people who have Restored the Snyderverse in their name, doing something completely unrelated that was toxic behavior. I even called that out. It's like, dude, you are hashtag to this movement. You represent the movement. Your behavior matters. And that's what you kind of did, is by having these rules of engagement, you're saying that if you're doing this stuff using our hashtag, we do not consider you part of this movement. And it's to protect the movement. It's not. Don't get the big deal with that, honestly.
Yeah, no, right? Hey, Bad Dan's confused, right? He's like, I don't even get why this is an issue, right? Because that's what I'm saying, bro. It's like, we did these things and we do those things because you have to isolate our conversation, right? Let's take, for instance, The Flash, right? When The Flash came out, you had people that was like big in the, I'm not even gonna call them out. You had people that were with other large hub accounts, right? That were literally like doing things like spoiling the movie, right? Releasing edited footage to make Ezra Miller seem like he was putting a baby in a microwave, right? There was all types of wacky stuff going on, right? So when you have those types of things happening, and the people from the outside can literally say like, "Yo, these are the prominent accounts that are behaving like this," right? So when you have the both hashtags with the rules of engagement, it really isolates us from a lot of that stuff. You didn't see too many sales ZSJL to Netflix people spoiling the movie, did you?
No,
right?
I don't think I
Like,
saw any, honestly.
you ain't seen no sales ZSJL to Netflix people out there attacking people for going to go see the movie, right? You had people within sale that saw it and didn't like it, right? Which is fine. But all I was saying was, don't say that it did something that it didn't do. Right? Like, don't say that it erased Zack's vision or that it disrespected his work or anything like that, because it didn't. Right? So, I'm talking about the quality level of the movie. That is a subjective thing. Like, I'm never going to argue anybody's point over that. Right? Even Lee, right? With the Cool Table, we did an entire thing. You had people from Austin that loved it probably more than everybody, and you had Leon, who I think he gave it, what was it, a C+ or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Somewhere about
so right. So and was I yelling at Leon, telling him, hey, no, like, this movie is way better than what you, no. Like, that was his opinion, right? So but he did agree that it didn't do anything that that I understand that it didn't do, right? But yeah, at that same point, us having these things that are rules of engagement that really differentiate ourselves from other movements. I think that that is very imperative that we have those things, and we will not be changing. And look no further than the recent Flash film and everything that went on social media as a prime example of like why we feel it's best to kind of differentiate ourselves from other movements.
Everything that happened with that Flash movie, 100%, yeah, especially just showing false information. Especially, like, my big thing is, Zonra brings up this good point. Why talk about stuff you hate so much? Talk about what you love. And I think the problem is, when you put so much energy into stuff you hate, people are not going to be interested in it. Here's an example. Legends of Tomorrow. I thought that show went so bad, I stopped watching after season 5. I could not watch it anymore. And when the hashtag Save Legends of Tomorrow came, I thought it was stupid. I thought, why? It was an awful show. But you know how often I went after people about it? Do you know how many times I've commented on it, other than just bringing up this particular point?
Right? Hey, I haven't been look, this season of Black Mirror has been super meh for me. right? Like, I'm not going on like no long tirade. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm probably gonna speak on it after I'm done with the season, but just speak on it and move on. Then if it comes up, we can like we talk. Bro, I don't even like talking about Star Wars. Why you think that I wasn't talking about Star Wars back then? It's because I didn't have anything nice to say, right? Like that was why. So it was just like I'd rather just be quiet. Right. But now I'm getting back in and, they are slowly kind of bringing me back in. Right. But at the same token, that's why I wasn't talking about Star Wars. You're over here. Hey, you got Skiiwalker in your name and you're never talking about. That was why, because I didn't have nothing nice to say back then. That's why.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, I would give this guy, God, it's so confusing. I would give this guy shit all the time for not talking Star Wars in his name. I constantly trolled him about it a few times.
Just saying, right?
But that's a good point. And that's what I love about this Game Rant article is that it really highlighted the positivity of the movement, highlighted the positivity of what this movement did, highlighting your stuff, and it gives a positive association with the movement. And that's what I think is so important for the Cell movement to do is create that positive movement, is to not engage with the negativity. It's, again, as harsh as it sounds. And here's the thing. If you feel like you're getting excommunicado from the movement, it's because of your own choices. It's your own choices that you're making. It's because you feel that being negative is that important.
Yo, literally, only one person got excommunicated. Yeah, it's so funny, right? It's so funny because that even came up in my chat last night. It was like, oh my God, like certain people got excommunicated. The only person that got excommunicado was our movie news. That's because he called me a liar and said that I was like trying to mislead people, pretty much, right? After he had been, using our movement to kind of gain traction. And look, what I'm finding out back then is that for a lot of people, this stuff is just content. And I'm learning to not take it so personally, right? Because they're just trying to make content and trying to, keep their channels afloat. And, I just think that going forward, we should all just take these people's opinions with a grain of salt. Anybody trying to say that, hey, we're over here trying to grift or trying to sell false hope or whatever. I mean, is it false hope when Insecure, a damn Max original, just ended up, or HBO original, which is damn near the same thing, right? Just ended up on Netflix. Is that false hope?
No,
you tell me back then.
It's not false hope at all. Is that because, which again, this just happened to kind of be our next topic, so I just kind of went to it at this point, is that, yeah, I mean, it's not false hope at all. It's because Zack Snyder's Justice League is an HBO Max original. That's what it is. It came out because HBO Max needed original content, and they had a project already built. So, therefore, them wanting original content means that this JL could very well end up on Netflix. Not just talking about your scoop, just going off common sense stuff here. And that's what and this is what I love about getting scoops like this, is when you see the stuff starting to be confirmed outside of your scoop, is you see they want other HBO content. And yes,
right.
This part here was another huge deal for the movement because it showed a lot of great things. It showed that HBO is willing to sell their original IP, and it shows that Netflix wants it. Those are two things that need to happen for the sells USJL to Netflix. And both those things in that moment happened. What was that thing that got announced today? Was that Dwayne Johnson series that was announced today?
Ballers, right? Ballers, yeah, right? Ballers. Right. So, which is $7 production, if I'm not mistaken, right? But back then, check this out, right? So we know that WBD is interested in. Wait, look, and this is outside of my scoop because first of all, my scoop came after it was already confirmed that they were talking, right? So that had already been confirmed, right? But let's just set that to the side. right? We know that WBD is interested, right? Because they just license out projects, right? We know that Netflix is interested because they just purchased licenses for these projects, right? Now, you want to know who else has to be interested? Batman, Zach, right? Now, the question is Zach interested? Well, luckily, hashtag some other black guy asked Zach, would he be interested at Full Circle? Right? So we know that Zach is interested, right? So is the cast interested? Well, Ben Affleck answered my question too at Full Circle. Ben Affleck said that he's pretty much interested in coming back. Chris Terrio said that he was interested in coming back. Like it seems like there's interest on all sides back then.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this shows is the interest on all sides. Because that's what's I mean, even though we don't engage with WBD, Netflix would have to get this movement going. And WBD is already showing interest because they're broke. They are broke and they need money and they cannot afford to be picky about this stuff. And they didn't do a good job getting the international. They had too many pre-existing contracts, and this is a great way to get their shows out to make money off shows that they're not currently making a lot of money off of.
Makes all the sense in the world back then, right? Like you literally have this shit just sitting there, right? Like, oh, let's just make some money off of it. Why not? It's just sitting there. Like, do you want the air cut sitting there collecting dust? Or you want to be making some dollars off of it?
Exactly.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say exactly. Because they're broke and they have all this IP and they need to use it. They need to sell it to make money so that they can make money off what they have.
I agree. That's why hashtag sales ZSJL was born back then.
And that's why this is such a great movement. And this really solidifies the original hashtag a lot more too. Sells ZSJL to Netflix. I mean, I've said this before on the stream, but it's very important to emphasize that this is what really emphasizes it right here is seeing the original content being sold is that you looked at this very logically. You didn't, when we were talking about fire James Gunn and Safran, all that stuff, we were thinking with emotion. It was what I called the Ant-Man 3 strategy. It wasn't a strategy for us to win. It was a strategy for both of us to lose. But you looked at the situation, you analyzed it. You looked at all the variables. You looked at where Zack Snyder was. You looked at what WBD needs right now. And you looked at what Netflix wants right now. You looked at all three of those things, and that's how the movement got created. And now you're seeing it a lot more in real time by Netflix actually asking for other HBO content. DC is a popular brand. I know it's a damaged brand right now, but people do like DC.
Hey, Snyder's brand ain't damaged though. Right? Like literally his stuff, right? The last thing that he put out was got like a 94% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, something
right? Global phenomenon, right? Broke streaming records around the world. I don't think Zack's brand at DC is tarnished at all. I think the Warner Brothers' handling of the DC IP has been atrocious. But Zack's record? Oh no.
Oh no, his record's great. Even his shortened or damaged Batman v Superman film, the shortened one still got close to breaking $1 billion. And I guess according to Zodwriter's book that's coming out, I guess I'm going to be very careful how I say this because I don't remember the exact quote, and Zodwriter is not in the chat currently to correct me on this. But
they definitely took that movie out of theaters early, especially internationally. Seal went over it like on stream one time, actually. Yes, that movie was making money overseas, and they pulled it out early.
Yeah, they pulled it out early. So it would have made $1 billion. But the whole point is Zack's damaged or his, I can't think of his handicapped. I'm trying to think of the word, the not
compromise, right?
Compromise. That's the word. Compromise.
Right.
That one is still made would have made $1 billion had Warner Brothers Discovery, or not Warner Brothers Discovery, just Warner Brothers hadn't been stupid.
Bad Dan. If that is one thing that I could go back in time and do, it would be to convince WBD or WB to leave that 30 minutes in Batman vs Superman. That would be like the one thing I would go to Zach and be like, Zach, don't let them, bro. I'm from the future. Like, yo, taking 30 minutes out of this movie causes such a like, yo, it causes such a ripple in the timeline, bro. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, 3 hours, bro.
And it's really just amazing what a difference that 3 hours made. But that's the reality of what happened, and that's what caused the air cut to be essentially justified. That's what caused essentially the third act of Wonder Woman to be justified. That's what caused
Justice League, like it literally caused the whole thing. Them taking that 30 minutes out.
Yeah, and so much. I mean, it's just really amazing what a difference that made, and that was not good for the brand. That was not good for the DC brand, and that's what DC needs right now is a strong brand, not just money, but they need, because if you straighten the brand, then people will want to see your products in theaters again.
Wait a minute. Speaking of damaged DC brand, right? Just think about this, Bad Day, right? If it was one thing that DC was unequivocally like over Marvel in, it was their animated division.
Oh yeah.
Right? I don't even hear about their animated projects like that any like more, right?
Oh no one cares about those.
I've heard like from what I've heard, like the quality level has dropped off in the animation department as well. So it's like, you know, this on like all fronts. It seems like the best thing DC has going for it is Zack's characters and Zack's version. So let's get this thing on over to Netflix so we can create another global phenomenon and we can see a completion to this man's arc.
Exactly. Finish the story, finish it, whether it be in a movie, 2 movies, a miniseries, whatever, but give us that to finish the story and strengthen the brand. That's the biggest thing that I think this can do is strengthen the brand. And then when you have your stuff in theaters, people will give it a chance. That's the reality. But, you know, and again, this is a great first step. Netflix wants HBO content, and it's showing. And again, that's going to lead to DC. That will definitely, I mean, just going off common sense, that's going to lead to DC. They already have DC on their channel. That's the whole point of cartoons and cereal, is because DC is already on their platform. So that's actually another point. They have HBO Original and DC.
Which actually, they got a bunch of these projects after we started the campaign, right? So look, this is look, if anybody is doubting the power of #sell, look at what's happened in just, was it like 6 months, right? Look at what's happened. Like literally you got Forbes articles, multiple articles covering the situations, the Zack seal of approval, Netflix actually like getting these properties on their platform, right? You know, and I got a pretty good idea that, you know, cartoons and cereal has been working, and that, you know, they are seeing this engagement on their platform. So, you know, we will continue to be effective and do things that we think will drive the conversation forward in the best possible way.
And that's what's so great about the cartoons and cereal, though, is because it shows the actual engagement. And I need to figure out my whole Netflix situation, because I recently got kicked out of off my Netflix accounts because I've been on my dad's account. And
you was sharing Netflix back then. Hey, come on, man.
I know. And just for the record, my dad didn't kick me out. Netflix kicked me out.
Yeah, he's like, yo, he gave you the boot. Nah, Netflix was like, yo, we need that $15, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you better come off that $15, bro. Hey, I don't know. I might get you I might like gift you a month or like something.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, but definitely saw it because I would like
You
to
know,
get back to cartoons and cereal.
look, cause you gave me the first super chat on my channel, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the whole
You know
Obi-Wan
what?
gave up, I stand with Anakin Skywalker.
You know what? I was going to gift you a month of Netflix until you said that. You know what I'm saying? So now I take it back. Nah,
I'm just
I'm playing. I'm joking. Yeah. Nah. We will talk about that and we'll get you straight, for real.
oh oh thank you. Yeah, definitely. And so there's actually some now we're going to kind of more of a fun topic. So this is where we get to kind of imagine the possibilities a little bit. So we
Mm.
know that the main focus I get is ZSJL 2 and 3, Nightmare series, arc completion, whatever, and the air cut because
Whatever.
that's
Yeah.
still.
Right.
But here's the thing: what people need to remember is that when something's successful, you do more. So even if Netflix only wants to do one project right now, when it's successful, we know Netflix is going to want to do more. So there's so many other different things that this can lead to. And especially with that $7 series, I know you just said it earlier on here, but one
Baller.
franchise, Baller, yes. One thing I really want to see saved is the Black Adam franchise because I need to see that Black Adam, Dwayne Johnson, the Superman Henry Cavill movie. I need to see that fight. They set it up in Black Adam, and I need to see that pay off one way or another.
Man. Talking about the possibilities for this thing. I think that, possibilities are endless. I I think that you could maybe even sneak in some other projects before you do Justice League, right? You could sneak in a Batfleck movie or like a Man of Steel 2, right? Because those would have been coming before Justice League anyway, right? So I think that, when you look at the possibilities, but definitely high up on that list is that Black Adam versus Superman fight. That is something that was supposed to go down and that has been being teased for so long, when The Rock was first announced as Black Adam. See, everybody might not remember, but there was like an arms race between Marvel and DC back then, especially about who was going to sign The Rock, right? So it was like, yo, is he going to go to Marvel? Is he going to, is he going to go to DC? Nobody was really sure. And so when he went over to DC and it was confirmed that he was playing Black Adam, like him fighting Superman was obviously on everybody's mind, right? So this is something that people have been clamoring for quite some time. Um, you know, the Black Adam franchise, I think, if you really look back, it made, that's been the one that kind of made a little bit of money, right?
Yeah.
And that was one of the first things that they seemed to get rid of, right? Which was one of the money makers. Strange, right? How that happens. But, that Rock or that Black Adam versus Superman fight is definitely something that we need. And I think that if we do get that, especially if it's in some kind of like Zack directed project, oh my God. Like that's what we really need. That's what we really need is Zack directing that fight with Henry Cavill versus The Rock. That'd be insane.
Oh my God, yeah, Zack Snyder directing that would. I mean, I thought Mike, you said that at one point that Dwayne wanted to get Zack Snyder on one of his projects, even if I recall correctly.
I wouldn't be shocked. The Rock was obviously trying to fit in with the Snyderverse, but it seems as if certain people didn't want that to be the case.
Yeah, well, don't tell the Snyder onlys that because that movie was Justice League. And look, and for the record, I didn't necessarily agree with them using John Williams scene for Henry Cavill's Superman, but I still showed support for Henry Cavill being Superman. I didn't boycott over a choice that I simply disagreed with.
Hey, man, like, look, it's... don't know, Dan. I just feel like at this point, a lot of times we get so bogged down in semantics, that it doesn't really um it doesn't really do us any good to get bogged down into some of these conversations that people choose to get bogged down
in. Exactly. And thank you for confirming, Mikey. So much stuff that says it all blends together. But I mean, you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, it was Henry Cavill as Superman, and for better or for worse, this is where we are right now. But this is the chance to really save essentially the Black Adam franchise, because I was so excited for whether or not that was connected to the Snyderverse, seeing that Cavill Black Adam fight, seeing the JSA, and this is the chance. This right here is the chance to see that.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. No, look, this fight, it has to happen. They literally set it up at the end of Black Adam, right, with the post-credit scene, which is the post-credits, which was definitely not a wacky post-credit scene, right? Definitely wasn't wacky. That post-credit scene wasn't wacky at all. You know what I'm saying? But having this fight it should be of paramount importance, because The Rock versus Cavill is definitely going to lead to a whole lot. Definitely going to lead to a whole lot of eyeballs being on Netflix.
Oh yeah, definitely. And actually, Mikey brings up a good point where the Snyder only is going to be then, especially if Zack were to direct that fight or any Black Adam project. Probably saying Justice Zack. He'd be Justice.
Compromise. Yo, I'm telling you, Dan, that's gonna be the new narrative after we are successful with this hashtag sales via jail thing. It's gonna be that it's compromised. Facts. Telling you, like, that's gonna be the new narrative. I'm telling you guys, stamp it, book it. It's gonna be compromise. 100%.
And Integrity's right. At the end of the day, the focus should be ZSJL too. But again, I think there's so many great stuff that can happen. And personally, I would kind of hope the Batfleck film happens before the Zack's arc, for one simple reason, is that Ben Affleck is likely would get his send off. I still think, I know the story has changed, but I'm still very confident that Ben Affleck's family is going to die at the end of Zack's arc. I'm very confident that that's still going to be a thing that's going to happen one way or another. So, yeah, so I definitely like that Batfleck movie before ZSJL 2. And plus, that end scene in Zack Snyder's Justice League, that's the only project outside of Zack's sequels that's directly set up in the Snyder Cuts.
Yeah, and look, one, you're right that is directly set up, but not only just that, I don't just want that Batfleck. I want that Man of Steel too, yo. Like, I really hope that we get that. I ain't gonna lie, I really do hope that we get that. But I think that these other projects can definitely be. Look, they may decide to get some of these other projects going just by the response to Zack's prior DC stuff. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. And plus, they might want to start with some smaller budget stuff before they move into the big Justice League team ups. Just like a Batfleck movie would be very. Oh, okay. Hold on.
What happened?
Plug. Mikey warned me I had mic issues. Very funny, Mikey. But Mikey, is this something you're theorizing, or is this something that you maybe have heard? Did Mikey just drop something to you?
Nah, I think he was talking about what he just put in the chat.
Okay.
I don't know. Did he? Nah, I just playing.
Yeah, but Cavill and Rebel, yep, Cavill and Rebel Moon. Oh my God, that would be so huge. Plus,
And a Rebel Moon spinoff, right?
yeah, so many. I mean, Ray Fisher's already in Rebel Moon. Mikey's talked about Ezra being in Rebel Moon, and now Cavill. Again, I mean, getting these actors back onto Netflix, that's part. I mean, at least for me, that's part of it too. Is getting the actors back. Okay,
So
but
it's just a what if.
still pretty damn good. What if? Especially, I would love to see Zack Snyder direct Cavill and using his British accent. I want to see Cavill play another role in his natural British accent.
That'd be wild, right?
Yeah, I think for Rebel Moon it would be really fitting. And so I actually thought of something possible.
Especially if he plays like a bad guy too.
Oh yeah, I kind of hope that he plays a bad guy. I want to see him play. I want to see Cavill play a bad guy this time. He's always so squeaky clean, and
did you see him in the last Mission Impossible?
I haven't watched the Mission Impossible movies.
Oh my God, Bad Dan. Yo, that last one, that was the best one, and Cavill was amazing in that movie. 100%. Amazing. Amazing. And he plays like a bad guy, kind of. Because you think he's a good guy, but then he's not.
Okay, well, I'll definitely check that out because I'm a fan of Cavill. I follow his work. I haven't watched The Witcher season 3 though. I kind of don't want to watch that anymore now that Cavill's leaving. But then I'll check out Mission Impossible, and especially now that seeing Cavill's the bad guy, I really want to see that. I really want to see. Yeah, well, really want to see, but I really want to see him play that bad guy.
Oh man. Yeah, now I'm getting messages. Okay. Oh my God. Hey, this is dope. Anyway, keep going back then. You keep going, bro.
So I actually thought of something though with a Superman project. So there's two main Superman projects we want. We want to see Cavill we want to see the Cavill v Brainiac movie and the Cavill v Black Adam movie. We know that Black Adam's an anti-hero, and we know that they would have probably fought together to take down another bad. So what if Man of Steel 2 with Brainiac and Superman v Black Adam, what if they make that one project? They have Superman and Black Adam, they fight, and then they have to put aside their differences to take down Brainiac.
Look, I really think that a lot of these ideas might end up getting merged into other like projects, and some of these things might be condensed, right? So however they would be able to work that out, that would be super dope. But I'm just hoping that we can make enough noise to show them that there's a lot of room for them to come in and really mine this thing out as much as possible.
I think there's a lot of great possibilities, and I think there's so many great possibilities for this, and stuff will get merged. But at the end of the day, the whole point is getting the arc and getting the conclusion to the story that we love. And I can totally tell on your face, I can totally see it on your face right now. Mikey's being innocent again, isn't he?
Pretty much. Hey, man, he's innocent, bro. You ain't know?
Hey, Mikey, I hate to ask this, but does Skiiwalker have permission to drop what you're telling him in the back in the private chat?
Oh no!
Okay.
Oh no! I was already told that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was. Hey. But anyway, look, yo, there's a lot of room for this stuff to be mined out, yo, and I think that whatever they choose, to do, we're gonna engage with it on like a massive level. So
And and exactly, we're lots of engagement. We have a lot more stuff that can happen. There's so much great stuff that's going to happen, and I really feel this will be the thing. This will be the savior of DC at the end of the day, because DC is a damaged brand. It is, but this is what's going to save it. Give us hype for DC. Give us hype for something to be excited for again. And I think this can happen, but just kind of recap. Go over, what are the ROEs?
man, ROEs, right? They've been the talk of the town ever since January, even though they've never changed. Literally, they've been the same since we put them out. 3 rules. These are not rules that if you break, that we're gonna try to chase after you and and try to give you a swirly. It's not gonna happen, right? But we just ask that if you rock out with the hashtags, that you follow these 3 rules, which is number 1, be positive. This movement is having a new conversation with Netflix, so there's no real reason to carry over any of that animosity that we had from WBD or any of the old players that were involved with this stuff. There's no reason to carry that stuff over to the current home of Zack Snyder. They are investing in him, which means that they're investing in us as Zack Snyder fans, right? Rule number 2, we ask that you do not mix the hashtags with other hashtags, because as I said earlier, we're trying to keep the messaging as focused and as effective as possible. Twitter only respects 2 hashtags, and so we're also trying to make sure that we keep that messaging laser focused. So we ask that you don't mix the hashtags with other ones. Not saying you can't use other hashtags. We just ask that you do it in a separate tweet. Like, that's it. It's not like, yo, don't use other hashtags. It's just we ask that you don't mix them. That's literally all that we've ever asked, and that's all that we will continue to ask. We are not trying to police anybody's Twitter usage, right? We're just asking that if you're going to use these hashtags, that you follow these 3 rules. And rule number 3, we do not quote, tweet, mention, reply to anything like that anybody over at WBD, which is including but not limited to James Gunn, the co-head of DC Studios, right? We're really focusing on continuing that conversation with Netflix and really focusing our energy there, right? WBD has chosen to go on a different route, which is to reboot and to bring in David Corenswet as the new Superman. So I feel that it is best that we respect that choice and that we take our engagement elsewhere, right? Which is over to the current home of Zack Snyder. So those are it. Those are the 3 rules of engagement, and we ask that you just follow those rules while using the hashtags.
Had to pull that one up. That's a good one, though. I like that one too. Is that? But it's seriously, just don't lie, people. Don't lie. I mean, I know that was kind of a funny comment, but it's a serious point. No one likes a flip-flopper. Okay? If you're not into it, just move on. Don't talk about it anymore. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, there is no reason to call us toxic or liars or grifters, especially without any proof of us being toxic. Like, it's just wild. I keep hearing that I'm toxic, but I haven't been given any examples of like how or when.
And at the end of the day, we just can't worry about it. We just have to focus on our thing. We have a lot of great stuff coming up, and I think this cell movement is going to be the savior of DC. It's the thing, because really, Sky, when Henry, and I say this a lot, but I think it's important. When Henry Cavill got fired, I was depressed. I really was. I was upset that something I was excited for went away. Your movement is what got me excited to be a DC fan again. So anyone who goes against you in the cell movement, as far as I'm concerned, they're against me as far as I'm concerned. That's where I take it. I am at this point.
That's great. Look, one, I'm glad that this campaign was able to bring you some hope again, right? Because you aren't alone in what you're saying, man. Like, I was bummed out. I had talked to Seal. Seal was, we knew a little bit before you guys knew because Seal told us,
Yeah, I
and
figured.
he was like, "Hey man, reboot coming, y'all," and I was like, part of me didn't want to accept it, right? Like I was like, nah, like because I'm knowing that he probably wasn't wrong, but I'm like, I just I'm hoping he's wrong, right? And he was like, "Hey y'all, reboot coming!" Like I'm telling y'all, and then I was like, right, and then yeah, like the that that day came and it all hit us, right? We went. I mean, I went on State of the Fandom. I flipped out. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we all had to go through this process, on our own, right? And it was something that we all definitely had to come to terms with. So, um, while I do recognize the power that moment had, and like how it made a bunch of us kind of down and out, but now looking back, I also can see that that's what also led to this, right? Was that same feeling of despair and us being down and out. Like it led to this idea taking form. Like that, and this would have I have gone back. I wouldn't have come up with this idea if Henry Cavill was never out as Superman. Right. So as damaging as that felt for our fan base, I feel like it was also kind of needed because now we're here, and I feel like we have a much better chance of actually getting this thing to fruition than we did before.
I agree. I think, there's concise messaging. There's 2 hashtags, not 10 hashtags. And it's a positive movement. It doesn't call for anyone to lose their jobs. And I'm very happy to be part of this movement. I think there's going to be really great stuff that's happened here. And I think you've done a great work. And when this does happen, well, a lot to you, Skiiwalker, because you'll be the one who, I know you don't like all this praise, but you'll be the one who will have saved DC by coming up with this movement.
Oh my God. See, look, just so y'all know, right? When Bad Dan would like put like the savior of DC, when he first put that as like the title that he was gonna have, right? He was like, "Oh, but the title is still a workshop in like progress." It was worded where almost like where it looked like he was trying to call me the savior of DC. I was like, "Bad Dan, bro." Like, bro, chill. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, chill. So yeah, it does kind of make me uncomfortable, but I will say that I understand where you guys are coming from, and I'm just happy that this thing has galvanized a bunch of the fan base, and hopefully we can just get this thing closed out, and then I'll feel a little bit better about hearing all this stuff, because that's what it is. Because it's like if Netflix comes out and like, yo, sorry, but we just couldn't do it, y'all. Right now, obviously, I'm gonna feel better than I would have if like we would have just sat on the sideline the whole time. But I know that I am gonna have to come out and be talking to everybody and be having these conversations. But I don't think that that's gonna happen. I think that I'm pretty positive that we're gonna get this thing done, and then I feel a little bit better about what you guys be saying. So.
But at least you try to do something. You try to actually do something more than anyone else tried to. So no matter what, as far as I'm concerned, we already won. Regardless of what
Oh, facts. Yeah, yo, I said that in the comic book movie.com article, right? Was that I feel like the win was us flipping the narrative that all Zack Snyder fans are toxic and bots and all that stuff. See, and look at what happened. They turned around and called us toxic again, even though we literally created an entire movement based around positivity. Wild. Bad Dan.
Unfortunately, that's just what's always going to happen, is that we're always going to deal with people who are trying to call a fandom toxic. That's just with any fandom. People who are always trying to create negativity because It's Twitter. That's just how Twitter is. And at best we can do is just move forward. And I need to take my own advice too. Not engage with the betas, not engage with the Snyder onlys, not engage with any flip-floppers. We have a great community here, and we're going to do great things. We're all going to do great things, spread this movement around. And I guess you have a tour. You have a big tour coming up, don't you?
Oh yeah,
So,
I'm making my rounds this week, talking hashtag sales ZSJL, right? You were the first stop, right? And I'm glad that I could see. Look, Bad Dan's always first, man. Bad Dan is the one that beat me being sales first member, right? Bad Dan might have given Sil his first super chat, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. Bad Dan is always first, yo. He gave me my first super chat. So yeah, I am glad that I could be over here and start off this hashtag sales VSJL to Netflix tour on your platform. Yes, I will be making more stops at more platforms throughout the week. Stay tuned. I will be announcing them soon. I'm not sure if I'm stopping by anybody's platform tomorrow because it's the 4th of July. But stay tuned. I might do a little something, something. But I have a platform that I will be locking in with on Wednesday. 2 platforms that I will be locking in with on Friday. And yeah, so just stay tuned. But I don't want to announce those channels yet. So just stay tuned.
sounds good. And well, definitely I'll be tuned into those as well. And I guess for me coming up on my channel, don't actually have my next video planned right now. Working on getting a new computer for myself so I don't have all these StreamYard issues. But because like I was supposed to do that Superman Lois James Gunn topic. The reason I kind of threw that in there is because I tried to do that as a separate video and it didn't pan out because of the StreamYard quality. So I'm like, I'm just gonna throw it in this one. I don't have a lot to say on that anyway. So, but hopefully once I get that, I'll get a lot more content out. I'm really hoping to ramp up the content to really grow my channel. I got 249 subscribers. If you have not subscribed, hit subscribe. Trying to get to 300 by the end of summer. And if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss another episode. If you're watching this on replay crew, leave a comment section. And thank you again, Skiiwalker, for coming on. I had a really great time discussing this with you. It's always fun having you on the channel.
Hey, you already know, bro. You already know. This won't be my last time over here. It's always great getting to stop by Bad Dan's Thoughts channel. You know what I'm saying? And you always have it being. It's a very welcoming environment over here. So I'm happy to be here.
Oh, and hold on, I gotta pull this up real quickly. And yeah, thank you. I'm really glad. I'm always welcome to have you here. And
Scoop Dinner,
which is meant to correlate with the Snyderverse, from my understanding. So I can't wait for that. So hopefully, after I'm done with the band parade, if not, I'll just catch it on replay.
Y'all be sure to tune in to Scoop Center tomorrow. Right? The Griff Master himself, Phil Abdul, the Magic Man, Mikey Sutton, it's going to be crazy. Right? And they ain't even talking about when Night Shift come back, because when Night Shift come back, it's coming back with a vengeance, bro. 100%.
I cannot wait. So much great stuff with Sil Nation, so much great stuff with this channel. I'm so excited, and thank you, Trey. And speaking of Bat-tastic, have a Bat-tastic day.